We're live. And welcome, guys. Welcome to the Hair Wire, the place where you get hair smart. I'm your host, Sergio Cardona, alongside with the Hair Wire crew, Carrie Jarrett, Bisan Dipsy. How you guys are doing?
Doing great.
Doing great.
We're
so today, excited.
Guys, yes, we are. We are very excited. We have our friend here, Brad Poirier. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it. You know, my Spanish kicks in, and I don't kind of get it.
Yeah, so it has you roll the R, so it's Poirier.
Poirier.
Yeah, Poirier. Yeah, Poirier. Right. So I'm so excited to be here to meet you guys. I'm so excited about what Hair Wire is all about. Obviously, I love hair. I've been in hair for decades. But we're going to talk about something exciting today. You know, I'm only a guest today, but maybe I'll be a co-host.
Hey, who knows? Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
I'm only kidding.
Hey, guys, today we have a very special show, and with a very special guest. We also, have so many good things that we want to talk about. We just launched our summit. It's running, it's going great. And by the way, the funny thing about, or the greatest thing about a online summit is that there's no shortage of tickets. There's no shortage of tickets. You still can buy your tickets right now. You can go to our website, thehairwire.com/summit, and you can get your tickets right now. If you're either a professional or patron, we have a special summit for you. Plus, we have bonuses. Every 2 weeks, we're dropping in new content. And of course, we have our Q&A sessions. Carrie, can you please walk us through this process so our guests and our people who are watching can understand what it is that we're doing here at the Hair Wire?
Absolutely. So we are doing a mystery guest for the professionals every 2 weeks and for the patrons once a month, where you could come and it's a mystery guest. We'll announce it 5 days before. So you got to go in and check to see who it is, and it'll be live. A live Q&A, so you could talk to this guest. Now, this guest is going to be someone specific to what we're talking about: hair loss, hair growth, stress, trichology, you name it. So you do not want to miss it. We will have the replays available. However, if you want to be live and ask questions in real time, you have to be there. The times are announced on the summit. We're going to do them every Monday morning. So you'll know exactly what time. It'll be sharp on the dot when we start. And we'll go from there. And once you sign up, we'll send you the Zoom link or the StreamYard link, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, you don't want to miss these lives because these guests are pretty cool. But I will give you a couple teasers. We do have a makeup artist who's going to be coming and teaching us how to do eyebrows for men and women with thinning hair. And I know a lot of times with men, you don't want to go to the makeup store or talk to a cosmetologist because, some men don't want to talk about that. So she's going to come and do a little tutorial on how you could fill your eyebrows at home discreetly at your own home. So if you want to learn about filling your eyebrows, especially if you're struggling with hair loss, especially in that area, or even filling in your beard, you do not want to miss this free live with our special guests, which will be announced soon enough.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the industry. And as you guys know, here at the Hair Wire, we are all about getting you hair smart. It's all about bringing information, closing the gap in terms of the professionals to the general public and everything in between, because we want you guys to, first of all, keep your hair and start growing some hair back. That's all what we want for you guys, to keep the hair that you have and to grow it some more. Bisan, talk to us. What's happening right now on your neck of the woods? What's happening in Florida? And tell us a little bit with the summit. What's happening on your side? Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the summit is a brilliant idea, Sergio, because you all these 23 or more even speakers that are giving you different lectures from different topics, and not only about hair, it's also about health and wellness. And we discussed this many times before, that good hair starts from within. So it's very important that our vision is coming true in a way that we're bringing all these brilliant speakers talking about how to manage your stress, talking about diet, talking about microbiome, talking about your overall wellness, because our mission in the Hair Wire is to bring all these topics into together under one roof, and that's what we are like. We are grateful that we did that in this summit. It's just amazing summit that we bring all these niches in under one roof to talk about how to manage your health so you can have a great hair, because a great hair starts from within. And seeing our vision like in front of us is just humbling me. It's really humbling me.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Everything is all in one roof, in one summit. And plus we're adding all these add-on along the way. I mean, it cannot get better than that.
And for the price, I mean, you cannot complain. I mean, it's practically a gift. So get your tickets today, guys, to the Hairwire Summit, and you will not regret it. Also, we just recently launched the first Tricho network.
Yeah.
This is the first Tricho network. It's the first time that we have a social network just dedicated to hair loss and everything hair and everything about wellness, all together in one roof. It's just a brilliant idea that came on Carrie Jarrett's head. Carrie, walk us through the network. What's happening here?
Yeah, the vision was to bring and bridge that gap. I'm a cosmetologist first, and then I'm a trichologist. And I found that there was a huge gap still. And we keep talking about the disconnection. And, you have your cosmetology trichology club, you have your general practitioner trichology club, your dermatology trichology club. And I'm like, no, we need to come together. I feel like we're at a dance school, dance party, and the boys are on one side and the girls are on another. So I'm like, no, we're going to make this open platform where we could talk together. And yes, I set it up like a social media network and have where you guys could post forums, discussions, post any of your docs, your photos. It's for interacting, meeting, and networking, like social networking. And I find too, a lot of times when we do networking, we lose those conversations, we lose track. And I'm a firm believer in keep your private life private and your business life together. And so it's a nice platform to keep it all separate and a little more organized. Yeah. I have where we could post events, because a lot of times it was the trichologist, because it's so new, or anybody trying to get into it. I don't know about you, but I felt really alone and lost because a lot of people don't know what trichology is. And so I created a spot where I can meet other people who are like us, where we could communicate and hang out. And also where we could post events that are happening. I know we have our event, but I know other people are hosting events. Like our guest today, Brad, is going to be hosting a trichological cruise, which is an event which needs to be shared, which should be on there. So, which we'll get to that. But any events, workshops, classes, education, it's going to be in that one spot. I also have a shop in the back where we'll be able to find tools that you could buy as a trichologist or that you could retail as a trichologist. And then on the front end, we'll have it will be what is available. And obviously, if it's a professional tool, you don't have access to that. But if it's a patron accessible tool or a product, we'll have that available on the front end for patrons to use, but it will be endorsed by trichologists and we stand behind our products. So it's just a really good spot to have a good, solid community online for us to connect her. And because we're such a global market, this is where it's going to be. So
I'm going to add to all this great ideas is discussing cases, like when we have a big case or a complex case, because hair loss is, as you all know, it's not one cause that causes hair loss. Hair loss is a very complex cases. So basically, when we post a complex case online, and trichologists and cosmetologists and health enthusiasts will just come around and put their input in that, like, we are just bringing the industry to the next level. And we are helping millions of people who, like, one trichologist cannot help, but 10 trichologists can.
Yeah.
Like, we all have different niches. And when we put them together, we are a huge team. We can create a big difference.
Now, like, I do want to clarify. I do want to clarify. So we have the social network, like the Tricho network. And right now that is free sign up until September next year with lifetime access if you sign up within the year. Okay.
Ooh, I sign up now.
After that, it will be a membership fee. But right now it's a year for the free and lifetime access, but you have to sign up. And it doesn't matter if you're a patron, professional, surgeon, cosmetologist, if you're a hair enthusiast, a hair influencer, sign up. We will have that all systematically organized, and there will be stuff that as a cosmetologist, I cannot access the general practitioners forum. I cannot access certain forums, but so it's going to be very controlled on who and what you can see, but we're all still going to be there. So that way we can interact and share what we need. And especially if there's a case that I can't answer and I do need a surgeon, I have them right there on the platform to talk to and ask those questions. And who knows, it might be a lead or referral for that surgeon. So win-win for everybody. Now, in the summit is completely separate. The summit is it is live right now, but it is an on-demand for 6 months. And then we're going to be doing lives every month for patrons and every 2 weeks for professionals. That is paid access. Patrons, we are keeping it at $97, which is a steal of a deal, you guys. You guys are getting in front of some of our mentors in the industry. And then for the professionals, it's $495. Now, that is a steal of a deal too for a lot of the speakers. And if you see the lineup that we have, but we also have in there we have bonuses for you, business workshops, business lectures to take your business to the next level. So you want to sign up. But you guys, further ado, we need to talk to Brad, because this is one of our teasers, and it is a teaser. He is going to be a mystery guest speaker. However, you are going to have to check in to see when he is going to be our mystery guest on what date. But we wanted to bring him in because he is just so freaking awesome. I've never met somebody so cool. You guys got to meet him. So Brad, come on, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. Let's tell the whole world about you, especially in the trichology world, because this is a force to be reckoned with and you want to know him.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me on and meeting all of you guys. We had a brief chat before we came. I love the excitement. I love the enthusiasm. I'm just in awe in the shadow of what you guys are doing. Like just having the on demand, which I believe is amazing, because what you can do is you can watch it at any time. So you pay for access, you can watch it anytime if you have a really busy lifestyle, that sort of thing. I do a lot of stuff. I've been in the hair industry over 3 decades. I started 14 in a salon. I've done stage shows, film, television, video work. I'm a accomplished author. We have, let's say, the cruises, which we'll talk a little about later. I'm not good at talking about myself. I'm good at talking to everybody else. I do have my podcast that runs every week. So it's called the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast, where we bring guests on that empower. We've had some amazing, brilliant celebrity, non-celebrity guests. I'm also doing now a 12-part series called Changing the Hairstylist from the Inside Out. So we're
Nice.
now we start with the body, the emotions. Last week was all about communication. This Sunday, so we do every Sunday at 6:30 Standard Eastern Time. The next one coming up is all about the inside. So it's all about it's called Inner States. So it's about hairstylist as a healer, and it's also about hairstyle and the arousal factor. Right? Arousal in clients, arousal in yourself. And these are also things that we also talk a lot about: what causes burnout, what causes stress, what causes a lot of hair loss, things like that. I did do training with Malibu C with their head lab, and I have my scope and I love it, and doing clients and you know, but I really believe trichology is the wave of the future, because now a lot of our clients that we started with now are aging and getting older. And not to say you can't be 70 and have a full head of hair with no grays or no hair loss, or you could be somebody who's 25 and you look like you're 50 because you've been losing hair. But what I'm going to talk about today, we're really talking about self-care, and the lack of is because a lot of times the lack of self-care can contribute to hair loss. So I wish I had that before I studied it all, wrote the books, did the stuff, you know what I mean? Because obviously I'm you know, I'm not only author, I'm also you know, consumer, because I have my own things with hair loss and receding hairline and hair thinning. I used to have a massive head of hair, big curly hair down past my waist, if you can imagine. So you can see it if you watch the movie 54, because I was in that. But
nice.
so something you didn't know is it was filmed here at CineSpace Studios in Toronto. But
wow, that's so awesome.
yeah, there's so much. I think, as I say, by the time I was 20, I probably had a list of, stuff I've done like a 70-year-old. I competed for 8 years. I've been a platform artist. I'm a celebrity hairstylist. So the list can go on and on and on, but I kind of want to really kind of stick to the topic we're going to do today and kind of dive in deep and narrow it down, because it's so huge, because it could be like a whole, segment on its own.
I wanted to ask you, Brad, in your experience, and of course, on your discovery, creating your book, what are some of the things that you would consider are key factor into the behavior of people to basically neglecting themselves and neglecting the care that they need on daily basis?
Yeah. So with the book I've done, it's called the A to Z of salon professional self-care. So what I've done is I've taken it and broken it down to 26 lessons. So then each lesson will be like, say you take the letter A. So A would be like attitude. And attitude, I really find it's a great way to open it, because with attitude, you really that kind of sets you. If you have a positive attitude, a negative attitude, that's going to really reflect the choices you make, how you see other people, and that also triggers stress. Stress triggers hair loss. Stress triggers like emotional, things within you. One thing we always talk about, talking about A words, are authenticity. So a lot of times, if you're not in your authentic self, that's where you cause a lot of stress, right? And you're also maybe like B, not setting boundaries. Boundaries is another big thing. So these are things that people don't realize that actually contribute to hair loss, because they're external, but they're really internal. So, and that's why we're going from the inside out. Obviously, too, there's, hydration, lack of drinking water and being behind the chair all day. A lot of times we don't eat properly. We don't drink properly. We don't hydrate. So if your body's not getting the nutrients it needs, then obviously that's contributing to hair loss as well. It's contributing to lack of self-care, because self-care isn't bubble baths and drinking wine in the tub and scented candles. And we'd like to think it is, but for me, it really digs down deep into changing people from the inside out and giving them a catalyst of thought that they wouldn't think of normally. So those are words, and some people think, oh, this book is so simple, but there's a difference in simple and simplistic.
Exactly.
So with that, we have and I also have the exercises for people to do. Like people say, oh, that's, it's so simple. But what if you had maybe the letter F, which is a huge one, forgiveness. So forgiveness can be massive for people. And if you're hanging on to lack of forgiveness, bitterness, like all that stuff, that really affects your body, really affects your thoughts, really affects your hair as well. Even if you have an aspirin, your hair will be flat the next day, because it's all coming out through the top of your hair. And because people think, oh yeah, I can forgive anybody. And then when it comes to practical application, that's sometimes where the challenge comes in. You know what I mean? Because it takes a lot. If you said, write a list to everybody you need to forgive, but there's always somebody they miss on their list.
They're including themselves.
Exactly. And that's it, because a lot of people don't forgive themselves, and they hold that, they carry that into their work life, into their home life, because we wear so many hats. Like I say, we're a parent, we're a spouse, we're a son, a daughter, like we're a boss, we're an employee. There's so many things now that are put on us, more so than ever before, that life isn't as easy, but it can be. By just creating your kind of world, self-care world.
I want to touch base on that, the whole hats. That's one thing with a lot of my clients and my friends, and like this information is applicable not just to the industry, you guys, this is for everybody. This is, everybody should listen to these. But like the biggest thing I tell my clients, like when they're talking about looking at themselves or self-reflection or self-awareness, they look at themselves and like, but you have to really look at yourself and realize how many hats you wear. Look at the version of you as a mom, look at the version of you as a friend, look at version of you as a dad, and see, and like put yourself in that position, in that mode, essentially, and think about who you are around those people and stuff, and then analyze that, because a lot of people don't self-reflect on that enough, and they think they're one person's whole, but you're different versions of yourself to different versions of people. Like my husband looks at me different than my kids would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, I want to add to what Brad was saying, also the trauma that happened to us, even the past traumas, and we carry it along. While you're carrying along and you're wearing all these hats, it's just digging deeper inside your system and making you, like, you walk heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you walk heavy, so you need to be lightening up this load so your body cannot be too much stressed, because I think nowadays we have the stress bucket is full and we need to, like, empty it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you don't empty your stress bucket, as you're mentioning, there's no way that you're going to be able to move forward, because that stress bucket gets heavy, and that's a problem. It gets heavy, and unless you unload that bucket, you're going to be carrying that around. It's going to take you to places that you really don't want to be at, and unfortunately, and bring it into being neglecting on yourself. It's incredible. I see a lot of people, they come to the clinic, they are experiencing hair loss, and the first thing is that they come and see me and says, well, I came to you because I'm starting to see my doctors. I haven't seen doctors for years. I'm like, well, this is a good chance. It's a good opportunity, but why have you neglected yourself over the years? Oh, I've been dealing with my husband. I've been dealing with my mother. I've been dealing with my kids, and now it's my time. And that's, that is wrong in so many levels, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? And we like to take care of others and not on ourselves. And that's something I talked to Carrie a few months back about this book from Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life. And he mentions this, about how we like to take care of our dogs better than we take care of ourselves. And it has to be the other way around. Now, Brad, you mentioned some of this stuff in your book, right?
Yes, we break it all down, but even better is to go to the podcast, because we go a lot deeper live into the podcast. So as far as trauma, a great thing to do is, I think Carrie said, like, we wear so many hats, and who are you to different people? The thing is, usually burnout comes when you're not in your authentic self. Injury comes when you're not checking. So a simple exercise, wherever you go, if you're going into work, check yourself out in the mirror. Say, who I am. Am I today? What level am I at? Am I at 100%? Am I at 50%? The same with injury for clients, because there's a big shift that's happening with people in the beauty industry. We're kind of going back to where we started. So when we started as barbers, but barbers were also the doctors at that time. So way back when, and they used leeches. So if you had a snake bite, you went to your barber, they put the leeches on, they suck out the poison. So it's the same way with trichologists. People are coming to you to suck out the poison, they're coming to you as a healer. They're not really coming to you because you're kind of the new doctor, hair doctors, PhD, professional hairdresser. Right.
So I like that.
I like that.
So that's why we have that. But when we go, and that's where you have to be careful of, like we talked about last week, communication, because with communication, you can set that without seeing anything. It's invisible. You can create that trauma for the client by what you say. They're already vulnerable when they're coming to you as a trichologist. Their hair is thinning. They're already concerned that their hairline is moving back, that their hair is thinning. And for some of them, that takes away their self-importance, their self-worth, who they are as a person. They don't necessarily want to wear wigs. They don't necessarily want to have to put on the spray on hair or the fibers or do any of that kind of stuff. So they're coming to you for a solution, but they also want to go to a safe space where somebody really wants to understand them, communicate deeply with them, and not just, so what are we doing today? You want to say, let's really look at this. And that's why as trichologists, you have to get in deeper. You have to make your consultations longer. You can't just say, oh, well, look here, you have this on your, this is plugging, just get an exfoliant and use these products and that's it. You really want to know them, their lifestyle. And like you said, the dogs are people's animals are treated better than themselves. So the same, they're now finally reaching out to say, okay, I matter. I'm going to get some help. It's up to you as professionals now to be empathetic, compassionate, and watch those triggers that may, because something they talk to you about may be a trigger, and you may be able to resolve, even though we're not counselors or licensed therapists, but you can identify not just if it's blocked DHT or something like that. You can say they had this trauma, and this trauma became an anchor in them. And every time this subconsciously affects them, something happens. They start to lose hair. They twirl their finger and they're pulling out patches of hair.
Yeah.
They're, a lot of that kind of stuff, because some people's lives feel like they're great, they're on top of the world, they're wonderful, nothing could ever be wrong with them. Their internal life says something different, right? With their habits, with that. And I think as trichologists, because this is a new wave coming, we have to go deeper. We have to go deeper in our education with our people skills and getting to know them as a person, not a client who's paying your rent.
Amen.
Because
Sorry.
and to jump on that, because I believe money comes through service. The more we can serve our clients, the more money will flow to you.
Yes.
100%. How many times you feel like I'm depressed, I feel lost, I'm gonna go have a new haircut? How many times, how many people say that per day?
They're intuitively drawn to it.
Exactly.
They know the
Exactly.
the trichologist, the hair expert will be there.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And we are that kind of solution for them, as I say, for wellness, because it is more than just hair. It's never really the haircut. It's never really the shampoo at the sink. It's that connection they long for. Because people in our industry are the one few industries where people pay us to touch them physically.
True.
Right.
So, and when you have that physical connection, that energy that exchanges, that's totally different than buying a hamburger from the store and you pay the money and they give you a receipt and your change and away you go. There's no real connection there. They want to build a relationship with you. And as a trichologist, one session isn't going to be a quick fix for most clients that come in. They're going to have to come to you over time because you're creating a program specifically for them.
And also, Brad, I want to add here, I want to ask you your opinion. Also, trichologists, hairdressers, cosmetologists, we need to take care of ourselves too, because if our bucket is not full, we cannot service other people. So that's not only for clients, that's for us too.
Exactly. Because if you're, and we have something called a no dumping. So that means you don't dump on your clients, because you have your life from home, your whatever, and you're like, last night, I shouldn't even be doing your hair today because I'm so hungover. The client does not want to hear that, right? And also too, you could walk in, you check yourself in the mirror, you're like, I'm 100 today. And then that client sits in your chair and all it is blah, 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 blah. They dump on you because you haven't set boundaries and you're listening to all their stuff. If it's not related to what their issue is and they're just, you know what I mean? Yes, we listen, but we can also set boundaries, and boundaries are a way that we don't get burnt out. Our boundaries are a way that we can replenish ourselves, and it's a protector, because really when we're in our official form, we should only be dealing with what our training is, what products we recommend, what is in our arsenal toolbox to help enhance the problem, to solve the problem. We're not necessarily there to be a shrink. We're not there to be the bartender who will listen to all their stuff, because you have to remember, we're not like, are you an advisor? You're actually not an advisor. You don't tell them what to do. If they say, blah, 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 this happened, my husband is by this, my boyfriend, well, you should do this. Never do that. Never do that. Only what you know, and what you know is hair loss, and what you know is how to connect. Exactly. You have that empathy, that connection, or you kind of learn to steer that conversation, right? Because you're not there to judge anyone. You're not there to, because a lot of people think when they've been doing clients for a long time, we're friends. The thing is, they're a client, you're a professional, and that's what it is. Because as soon as you can't take them once, they're going to go off to somebody else, right? So you have to remember that we are professionals, and we have to remain professional with that kind of stuff. But we also talk a lot about some things that we have, like stress reduction, mental health, physical health, emotional well-being, improved relationships, enhanced productivity, resilience, preventative health, like increased self-confidence. Those are all things, longevity. Those are things I can go deeper into, but there's like so much that I have to spill that it's, as I say, like it's a topic on its own. That's why, as this, I'm not getting people to come to listen to the podcast, but it's a 12-part series that if you want to go deeper into all this stuff, then we're going deeper. And because these are things that people don't realize. And that's the thing. It's getting that toxic environment out of your space, right? You want a clean space to work in. You want to be there to be the professional. You want to, as I say, like, remember those things, like the no dumping, the no, and how you verbally say something. Like one of the funny things we said on the podcast last week was, if you say a client, do you want to bang? So a client hears that, what do you automatically think? Usually it's not hair. Well,
for us, yeah,
but that's the same. And Sergio's turning red, but it's the same sort of thing. But that could cause trauma for the client because they're like, you know what I mean? Because in some worlds, having a female's going to a male therapist is kind of a fantasy, and a lot of guys like to go to a female therapist or a female. I say therapist because I think we're becoming therapists, right?
Yeah.
Where their person.
I love the term therapist.
That they go to, that we're kind of doing it all for them, and there's a shift. We're never just the hair person anymore. We're now the healer. We're now the confidant. We're now the listener. We're now the therapist. You know what I mean? But also we have to understand our roles. Never give advice unless it's hair related. Ever. If you have to, excuse yourself, run to the back, whatever you need to do. But a lot of people come in to the opposite gender generally because of the fantasy. They believe that the opposite gender is going to make them feel attractive to the people of that gender, right? So if I come in as a male and I go to Bissan or Carrie and their hairstylist, I'm saying, hey, do whatever you want. I'm going to make them do whatever they want. But inside I'm hoping that they're going to make me look attractive to other females.
Right? There's a lot of psychology.
Yeah, and it works the same way for females, right? The shampoo at the sink. Who says the shampoo isn't the best part of the whole experience? So,
it's the best part. Yeah. Always.
You know what? I don't like getting my hair shampooed. I don't.
So let's dig deeper. We're not going to do that now, but there's always some anchor why usually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ticklish. I get ticklish, and then
but that's fine. But that's fine with the hair. The hair person, the shampoo technician. I like to call them shampoo technician. So they come, and then you say it's like getting a pedicure. Like same reason. Some people don't like their feet touched for whatever reason. But if you talk to that technician, let them know there are ways and different ways of scalp massage that we can do. We also have massage for like hair loss, for stress, for things like that. In my salon, I actually had our RMTs. I trained them how to shampoo, and our RMTs did the shampoo in my salon. So they had a registered massage therapist, was a great crossover, and they could see, because a lot of people say, well, how did you know I had stress? How do you know I had this? Because because we're contact, you can, and you're really feeling, you can tell when people are stressed because of the tightness. Right. Yeah. And I think that contributes, you guys can chime in, but I think that also contributes to hair loss as well. How tight, how loose your scalp is, I think really makes a big difference if you guys want to kind of jump in.
Particularly when it's either too tight or too loose. I mean, we're talking about blood circulation. It's affected. And, if this circulatory system is not working properly into the scalp, you're not going to get the nutrients. And if you're not getting the nutrients, then, of course, there's no building blocks to create more hair. So we need that circulation going all the time. And so by doing the right massage into the scalp, we can actually correct that. Actually correct that, and teaching people how to massage themselves other than just coming to the clinic or coming to the chair, because I mean, the chair is the best place to have this, and people love this experience. And not only that, but it is a very intimate space. That moment in the shampoo bowl, it's very intimate. The connection that you get to people emotionally, physically, is special. And you know what Brad was mentioning, we have a lot of people, you know, if they come to the chair, a guy would like to get his hair washed by a female like to get their hair washed by a guy, you know, it happens all the time. And they have whenever I have, you know, my clients and I get my staff working on them, you know, I like to always cross them, you know, every time I can, because again, it's a connection that people get into the process. And people like that a lot. But again, talking about how it comes into hair loss, again, it's all about blood circulation. We want
to add one thing too here, sorry, Sergio, before we cut this conversation. Also, the smell of the hair is different. When a person is nervous, you can smell the hair differently when a person is calm and like so just by smelling.
That's amazing to me, because I always love information, and that's something I didn't know that I learned today.
When we are nervous, we perspire a little bit more, so you can smell it from and we perspire from here when we're nervous.
Because of that, I mean, we love Mark Blake. I don't know if you heard Mark Blake.
Trichologist.
Yeah, Mark Blake. He's the hound of hair trichology, and
literally the hound.
He smells. He will come and smell people's hair.
Oh, really? Yeah, we're friends on Facebook, but I haven't really talked to him in depth yet. Maybe I'll have him on my show.
No, he teaches about that. He teaches about, you know, smelling people's scalp, smelling people's hair, and you know, he will teach, of course, about the different smells and what it means. You know, whether it's bacteria, fungus, you know, things that are happening in that nature into the scalp.
Nervousness.
And exactly, nervousness, and many other things that you can actually smell from people's scalp. So it is amazing, you know, using all the senses into the process in which you're connecting with people, but also you're finding out what's happening, what are the root causes of maybe hair loss, or the things that are happening around their lives. So it is an amazing feature right there.
Well, and I'm going to talk about this too, like self-care. When we talk about self-care too, there's a lot of key, like as a trichologist or a cosmetologist, there's a lot of things that you could see without just smelling the hair too, but you could tell if somebody's lacking in self-care or self-confidence even by the way they take care of their hair as well. So color, cutting, environment, all that. So like I'm always encouraging people too, when they're looking at the hair, use all your senses. Smell, except for taste. You don't want to taste the hair, but you know, sound. Like you can hear if it's really dry. You can hear if it's like I specialize in long hair, so I'll listen to the hair, see if it's dry. Like you got to use all those senses, and you can feel it. You go in and feel it up and down and like get in there. But with self-care, I find a lot of times like hair is an essential biomarker. You could tell if somebody's lacking self-care, not just by like their health internally, where their hair shedding or greasy, oily, or they're pulling it, but also too, you could start the self-care start depleting before that. If the person isn't taking self-care, they're not shaving as often, they're not grooming as often, they're not moisturizing their hair, they're just putting it up in a top knot and getting it letting it go greasy. And you know, as a human, if you see a friend that's kind of was that person that always was taking care of themselves and constantly regularly grooming, and now they're kind of going backwards, check in with them.
100%.
You know, there might be something going on, you know.
100%.
Definitely. Oh, if you want to go, or I just
go ahead.
I just want to touch on something that Sergio said. And one of the biggest things that people in our industry lack, because you said when you're at the sink, it's about blood flow and getting the nutrients. So nutrition is one of those biggest things in our industry. People don't eat properly. People don't hydrate properly. So if you're not getting those nutrients into the hair, obviously there's going to be some kind of fallout due to that sort of thing, because we're so stressed, we're running all the time, we deal on stimulants, which is usually coffee, cigarettes, sometimes wine, depending on your salon, but those sort of things. But when you're already hyped up, that all adds to the extra. Everything gets heightened. So your stress gets heightened, your trauma gets heightened, your things get heightened. And because we have so much on us, you know, as I say, we're like physical strain, emotional strain, even spiritual strain, because the shampoo bowl too can be a spiritual experience for some people.
Yes.
If you have your essential oils,
Mhm.
aromatherapy, if you have, like, if you're using maybe rosemary at the sink, or you're using tea tree at the sink, or using, you know, and you have your Himalayan lamps on, you got your soft music on, those are all things that affect as well
Or the new
very
one,
soon
green.
as people interact in your environment. Exactly. And that kind of sets a tone. If you're a hip salon and everything is pump, and you got the dance music going, and if that's not their vibe, they're not going to be comfortable. If somebody's like, yeah, I like the buzz, I like the excitement, but if somebody wants to come in and have a journey, have an experience that's one-on-one, most of these hype salons are doing 2 and 3 clients at the same time.
True.
So a lot of times they're double booked, they're triple booked, they're stressed out. So that really plays a lot
Yeah.
on their self-care as well. Like you said, they're not taking care. One thing I did hear is, it's like, when you go to salon, always go to the person with the worst hair, because chances are they've done everyone else's hair.
True.
That's a good
Because they
one.
don't have time, right? Because they're too busy
That's a good one.
for doing it. And then Sam, you had something you wanted to say?
Oh, yeah, I was just trying to say that we always say in the hair wire, I always believe that the hair is our crown. And the reason that I studied biology, and the reason that I'm a trichologist right now, because I was seeing how everything comes down to your hair.
Mhm.
When you're stressed out, you lose your hair. If you have a disease, the first sign of that disease is losing your hair. So it just blows my mind how your hair, and I think God gave it to us as an early sign, so we can just go dig deeper and see what is going on inside our bodies. It's just like it's just amazing. Trichology, I feel trichology is the mother of all biology. It's just
Mhm.
everything, bring all the biologies together, it's gonna end up with your hair.
Oh yeah,
That's
and
what I wanted.
it's amazing what you can see, like how, Carrie was saying, like, is the hair like straw? Is it like you're talking to it? What's it telling you? Right. And as as a trichologist, I think that's really what your dialogue is with the hair, because by speaking to the hair, so to speak, like,
Yeah.
what do I need to do as a trichologist? Like, are they lacking nutrients? Do they have stress in their life? Do they have this? Because just recommending a shampoo all the time isn't the solution, but you as therapists, I say that liberally, but you as
Yeah,
therapists, you're there to really, you're an excellent communicator, right? And that's one of your strengths
Yeah,
to be successful.
I also like to say we're also an operator as well, because
Mhm.
we could help. And you have your Rolodex, if those even exist anymore. You have your address
Mhm.
book.
Yep.
Your
I know what a
contact-
Rolodex is.
you have your contacts of who to go
Yeah.
to. Like, if I have a client that's struggling, I actually go further as a trichologist, cosmetologist. I get in touch with other psychologists. I get in touch with nutritionists. I get in touch with medical practitioners that are on the same page, and I'll be like, hey, I am here for you. I want to listen to you, but I'm not an advisor. And
Mhm.
but I do have this person that maybe I think you should talk to, or like navigate and be like, oh, you got to go see so and so. They're phenomenal. They helped me with this. Like, maybe you want to go check it out. But yeah, like, we are the operator, essentially. We find out what's the problem, what's going on, and then either if we can't fix it, we point them to the right people.
100%.
And we can't be an expert in everything.
Exactly. And networking is one of those things for self-care as well. It's one of those unsung heroes that people don't realize with networking. You like build a professional network with colleagues, mentors in the industry. Like, networking can provide emotional support, offer advice, create opportunities for collaboration and growth, because people kind of miss that in their town about networking with other people. So if you network with them, they can also network with you and send people your way,
Yeah.
regardless if they're in the same business or not. So that's one thing I think that's kind of overlooked. And that's one thing that helps us with our self-care as well.
Constantly. Networking is, I would say, the way that we bring the community together. And bringing the community together, you get a team. You get a team of people working on you. You get a team of people, working on your different problems that need solution. And, we were mentioning at the beginning that there are different areas in our lives that they need to be taken care of. Many fires that need to be put out in order for us to grow, in order for us to get better, in order for us to get our hair back, at least to keep it, at least keeping it. If we cannot get it back, at least try to keep it. Master your hair, master your health. That's a slogan for us at the Hair Wire. But it is important that we come together with our group of professionals so that we can take a look at what's going on and get that information into the system, and of course work that out, work those solutions, and of course get that hair back. It's amazing. I'm excited about this talk today.
Oh yeah,
you guys, I want to reiterate too, guys, the network that we created, the Tricho network, this is for that very reason, is that connecting. Like, you don't have to be a trichologist to be on this network. If you have experiential learning from hair loss and you want to help other people, come into this network. If you are a nutritionist who does everything nutrition, however, you have a lot of experience with hormones and hair loss, go in there, communicate. We need to work together. This is, it takes a village. And that village is to connect all those right people and network. And, you may get leads out of it too. Maybe you're a psychologist losing hair. Well, you know what? Maybe you come in here, be some friends with some of the trichologists. We have a lot of people that need psychologists. We might be that lead for you. So you guys get in there. I don't care if you're a hair trichologist or not. It's people who are an expert in hair loss and hair health and self-care, and who want to help other people and work together. No ego. Community, collaboration,
no judgment.
Yeah,
no judgment.
and that way it should be. And if you allow me a couple of minutes, if I can kind of go over some of the roles. So like Carrie was saying, a lot of people you can see when they're neglecting self-care. So a lot of times, self-care is, say in the salon, it's your physical self-care, not going for walks, getting out to get some fresh air to clear your mind, prioritizing like your physical self-care is crucial. Ergonomics, right? Wear the right shoes, have the pads under your feet so you absorb a lot of that stress, because your feet absorb, like, I think it's 300 times your body weight. So whatever you weigh is 300 times on your feet. So you want to make sure that you have the right shoes. Skincare. If you're not taking care of your skin, like exfoliating properly, and it's this is not vanity. It makes you feel better when you've had a shower. It makes you feel better when you look better, or because a lot of it, that's too, because a lot of things I think people say when they're losing hair, they adjust it to, I'm just getting older, or they go to their professional and they say, well, you're just getting older. It happens to everyone. No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen to everyone. You know what I mean? Like I said before, you can be 70 and a full head of dark hair and never colored your hair in life and not want, so it's all that kind of stuff. Your hand and your nail care. Like if you have dirt under your nails, if you have long overgrown nails or toenails that are yellow and curved, and that's going to affect you. If you're dealing with pains of an ingrown or a corn or whatever, get it taken care of. Right? Stress management. A lot of people don't look at stress management. Like hair salon professionals often deal with like demanding clients, high pressure situations. Like incorporate stress management techniques into your daily routine, such as like deep breathing exercises, quick mindful breaks between clients. I'd say get out there for those 15 minutes or half an hour walk between clients. Like a lot of people don't realize like time management. Doing 2 and 3 clients at the same time isn't good for the client. It isn't good for you. You think you're making more money, but in the long run, that client's going to go somewhere else. Also, continuing education, like the Hair Wire, which when I saw it first online, because it was recommended by a friend, when I saw it, I got so excited because I'm so excited about education and learning new things. I love the on-demand concept. I love that you have the best of the best in the industry to learn from. I love that you can just sign up and you can go, or if you do the VIP, you get even deeper. And then you're going to have ongoing training. You have that community that's going to help each other. That's not just trichologists. I think everybody should know about trichology. especially if you're a cosmetologist, a barber, you know, because a lot of barbers now, what are they doing? The permanent makeup, the hair pigmentation, right? Like things like that. I think you should really know it to understand it, even if you don't want to, as I say, that's not your lane. It's mine, but it's not other people's lane, that you should learn enough about everything that you can. A really big one though, because this might be why some people have stress, is financial well-being. So finances are a big thing, and especially for trichologists, and some things are going to any professional sometimes, and that stresses them out more because they got rent, they got this, they got that. You know, they think I can go to the casino and make my rent this month. So I did work at the Ministry of Health and the board of gambling, but
oh my God.
So we went to all the casinos, racetracks, and bingo halls. You saw people coming in, they're all happy, they were great, they were leaving, they were like nasty, because we weren't a for or against gambling, we were just a prevention program. So we had like fun games where you'd ask questions like, or just fun facts, like you have more of a chance of being dropped by an airplane wing and killed than you will if you your chances of winning the lottery. Those are things that people don't know, and then they get a free prize, things like that. But finances really are a big stressor, and any kind of stressor will cause hair loss. So that's one thing maybe to ask your client. It's a tough subject when you're asking, because you believe if they're there that, but some people, finances are big for them. Emotional self-care, emotionals. Some people can be like a roller coaster, and we're all over the place. And that could be your daily life. You're up, you're down, you're this, you've been emotionally dumped on, you spread it now to somebody else, you're doing all that kind of stuff. You know, we're often therapists for our clients, like who share their personal stories. Sometimes we want to hear them, sometimes we don't, sometimes we're and you haven't heard anything they've said, right? Sure. So they're like, my dog just died. Oh, great. My house burned down. Because you can't hear, right? You can't hear because so many people are talking in the salon, or your dryer's going. You know, I'm just spilling the tea like it is. I'm totally transparent. That's just the way it is. You know,
but particularly during the dryer. I mean, you're doing the dryer, you cannot hear a thing.
You can't hear anything.
People are talking and yapping like,
Yeah. So what I will do is, one, either turn the dryer off and take the time, or mention to them, when my dryer is on, I can't fully hear you. So I'm transparent for them, and I'm setting a boundary to say, if you like to talk, sure you can. I just may not be able to hear every word, right? Or the other way is you stand facing them so you can read their lips.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you're working though, or you're working the scope, or you're doing the stuff, you're more focused on what you're seeing under the scope than you are to really what they're saying in that moment, because our brains obviously can't always be in one direction, be another direction. And like I said before, networking is a big thing that we need to do more so than ever before, you know, to build your professional network and have like the cruise, which we'll still talk about, is having those like-minded people from around the globe all together. Where else can you have an experience like that? And that just spreads your message. It spreads your, like, who you are. And why not be excited with other people? Like, we're all energetically pumped, I believe, just from listening to each other. Like, you know, I mean, we never knew what was going to happen today. This is totally unscripted.
That's what we love about the show. Totally unscripted.
And just to kind of wrap up the next couple, so it's boundary setting. So this is why people experience a lot of burnout, because they don't set boundaries and they're not in their authentic selves. So you want to establish clear boundaries with clients, colleagues, even friends and family, to prevent overcommitment. Because when you're so excited in the moment, what are you going to say?
Yes.
Of course. And then you're like, how do I get out of this? Right. So either you're letting somebody on, or you're on their stuff, or whatever, but you want to maintain that balance, work-life balance, which I think as professionals, that's one of the biggest things for us that have families at home, have a life at home. Because once you leave work, you want to leave work at work and be that authentic person we should be. And Carrie said about wearing different hats. Yes, we are all these people. Your parents will look at you differently than your kids will, than your spouse will, but you should be in all those circles, still be your authentic self. Because when those worlds collides, you want to say, oh crap, now my friends are going to see my parents, and I'm totally different with my friends than I am with my parents. Then you've got this you got this paradigm thing happening where it's like, and dealing with difficult clients. I know you guys don't have this issue, but dealing with difficult clients, you develop strategies for handling difficult or demanding clients with patience and professionalism. You want to learn effective communication skills to mitigate stressful situations. And that's, again, listening, setting boundaries, always being in your authentic self. And a lot of clients, because a lot of times, what do most people in the beauty industry hear? The last person that did my hair or the last person that worked on me was nobody can ever do the hair like my last person. So you already got like stuff on you already, what I mean? They're already putting these demands on, but you really want to also too, it's burnout prevention. So you want to recognize the signs of burnout. Burnout, like I said, also happens when you're not authentic and you're not setting boundaries. That's when you're getting burnt out or you're saying yes to many things. So you want to also screen, monitor over your overall well-being. So that's checking health issues, checking yourself out when you leave the house. Look in the mirror when you step into your office. Where am I at today? Am I at 100%? Am I only at 50%? Am I cruising? Do I need to have a silent, maybe this isn't with trichologists, but with beauty professionals, it's having a silent appointment, which means your client does not talk during the whole process. If I'm doing body work, I'm trained in hair aesthetics, massage, and holistic. So if I'm doing massage, or a facial, I don't necessarily want my clients talking. I want them to receive. Or if they're at the shampoo bowl, the worst thing is them with their eyes wide open and bugged out, looking at you while you're washing their hair.
That's so creepy when they do that.
Creepy. It is. What I do is I put a warm towel over their eyes. So we create a solution so they can relax, because I want them to be there and relax. Physical health check. So make sure that you go for your checkups as the same, like what you need, your eyes, your teeth, whatever you need. Make sure that you're always in your optimal health. So again, nutrients. Are you taking the right nutrients? Are you taking sea moss? Are you taking whatever you kind of need to get the nutrients? If you're eating a lot of fast food because you're always working and you're piped on, fast food, caffeine, and cigarettes, right? So crisis management. So you want to develop a management for unexpected crisis, time for creativity. So if your creativity is art or hobbies, you want to also do that too, because that can help you get away from stress, and it can also help you be creative when working with clients, because now you can see things differently. Like, where do a lot of hair artists get their inspiration? Usually from nature. And when you're in nature, you have a different feeling. You're connecting with nature. And as I say, with your professional development, I know it's a lot of stuff. It's a big topic.
But it's
amazing.
the truth. It's the truth.
So basically, as I say, and this is in reference to you guys. So professional development. So attend industry conferences, workshops, seminars, enhance your skills, stay informed, get your pass now, get your VIP pass now for on-demand education for the hair wire. You need to. These guys are smiling, but it's really true. I've seen the speakers. I know what they speak about. I know some of them personally. This is the greatest education you can ever get that's going to empower you. Once you're empowered, you're going to be more self-confident. You're going to be more self-efficient. You're going to be, as I say, it really makes a big difference. As I say, and with that, you want to build relationships with your clients, cultivate positive client relationships built on trust, professionalism, like strong client relationships. That's what's going to carry you through, because most of your clients that come, so you as professionals, how long would a client stay with you generally? Like, would they be there a year? Would they be there a month? Would it be 10 years? Would it be a lifetime? They stay with you once they start with you.
Honestly, it depends. Like, if I'm doing a trichological assessment and I'm finding out what they have, I leave them and I set that note that they need to take ownership and accountability for what I do tell them. And I'm not here to hold their hand through the whole, they need to show up.
Exactly.
And I gave them the tools. But if they are somebody that I am able to do the treatments and do the follow-up and do the procedures, then they could be with me for up to 2 years. So I help people grow their hair from short to long.
But potentially lifetime, because you're also providing them with the products and tools for a lifetime that they need. So they're going to be with you a very long time. You want them to be
sometimes even generations, because I had grandmothers, their daughters, their grandchildren, clients that I've seen grown. I mean, I have girls that I've been treating since they were 2 years old. Now they're teenagers. Now they're in college, and you get to see the different episodes of their lives.
Everything. We see the births, we see the funerals, we see the growth, we see the graduation,
the marriages, the
weddings,
divorce,
we see their kids. And that's one special thing of us in the beauty industry that few other get, to see the entire generations that come to you, that know you know their history. They're like family, extended family. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that once you can create that relationship, even if they're no longer your client, if they can be an advocate for you, if they could be like, they're a super fan for you. They're like, I went to Sergio. He was so amazing. You need to go. You know what I mean? Because this is what he did for me. But what he did for you, or what Carrie did, or what Beside Dan, it's usually the experience. It's never the service. It's always the experience and how they feel with you, how you listened, how you cared for them, how you, presented yourself professionally. So which kind of makes us our next point, which is self-reflection. So periodically assess your career goals. Because where you are now, is this where you want to be in 5 years? And your satisfaction level, right? So reflect on your achievements, challenges, and your areas of growth. So I know, Carrie, you're like, so do you want to plug in and do you want to do that? And then we have one more after this one.
Oh my gosh, I love that you talked about that one, because I teach these courses, and yes, on the network, I have a lot of trichologists who have asked me privately. I will be offering my business coaching on the network. Yes, that's coming. And we're going to have other people coming. Brad could come.
Sign me up.
We're going to have a lineup of business people to help level you up. But that's one thing I always ask. People are always, they don't know where they're going in life with business. And, and then they get to a point where they're so stressed and they're scrambling and they're going everywhere and they're losing their minds because they got 100 things on the go and they can't keep up and they're not realistic with their long-term goals. I always say, every time I consult or coach with anybody, I always ask, okay, what is your long-term goal? Where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years? What is the ideal you look like in your career? Doesn't matter what industry you are in, whether you're a hairdresser, trichologist, jewelry maker, doesn't matter. What does your perfect world look like? And I make them look at their personal life and I make them look at their career life, because those go intermixed. And Bistan, we just talked about this the other day too. I said, well, what's your perfect world look like? Like, what do you want to do? And then reverse engineer how you're going to get there. So it's so important, because I'm glad you touched that. That gets me excited.
But I also think that does relate to hair loss, because they're creating these expectations. And if they're not in alignment with that, that causes stress, because they're not in it. And that's part of that too. Well, I want to be here. You should always set your goal and then work your way back. And that'll tell you always your steps that you need to get there. But that could be
be realistic. The amount of people are like, I want to make $1 million next year.
It's achievable. It can be done overnight, but not for the majority. Right. You have to, but usually the way, as I say, it's through service, or you're offering a solution for something that people need. You're never going to say, hey, I have this new shampoo, I'm going to sell 1 million overnight, because nobody can say, I have the shampoo, you're going to have hair to your waist in the morning. Yeah. Exactly. It's snake oil. Obviously it's not, everything takes time and that sort of thing. So it kind of brings us to our last point, which kind of goes off your point, is life outside of work. So make time for your personal life, your family, your kids, those, because your job, that's what's supporting it. So job, for most people, it's just over broke, right? Job, just over broke, because we're busting our butts to make little or no money, right? And it's never about money. It's about how we can serve others with our skills, our tools, and our products to bring out the best in them. But you want to have time for your personal life, your hobbies, your interests, because a lot of times people get so involved in the hustle, they forget themselves. They forget to do the self-check. They forget, oh, I used to like to do this. Oh, I used to like to do that. Sometimes we grow and it no longer serves us. But sometimes those are things that gave us passion, that made us come alive, that made us have, that sparks that. Like we're talking today, we all get thoughts and we're like, I gotta talk, but I'm holding myself in, because we want to be polite, but that's okay. But a well-rounded life outside of work can provide the balance, and it prevents burnout. It really does. It's not about cutting everything off. It's about having that work-life balance, and really I always say, and my biggest thing is to always be your authentic self and set boundaries. So once you have those, then basically everything else in life is a bonus. So I'll turn it over to you guys, because I've been chatting quite a bit.
But it's about structure, setting the boundaries, it's structure. That's why we need rules in our lives, because without them, we are just a bunch of animals, living not free, but, freely. And that's not the same, and having those rules, having the discipline to apply them is what's going to take you to the next level. It's what's going to help you promote your hair growth. It's going to help you promote a better lifestyle, and everything in between. Bisan, I cut you off for a second, so please.
No, I want to say to Brad that I wish I met you a year ago, because all you just said today, I paid money and got certified as a health coach. They taught me all what you are saying right now.
Oh, they said everything. Yeah, I used to work with a place in Arizona. So it's Trivita. I don't know if you ever heard of Trivita. They're a wellness company. So I was a wellness coach with them. So you kind of, as I say, for me, I like to know what I'm talking about, and not just blow hot air or whatever. But maybe a year ago, we would have been in different places. But you met me now, and we're friends on Facebook. So now we have this whole life to enjoy, maybe cruising the Mediterranean. Who knows?
Let's talk about
Definitely. We need to talk about that cruise.
I want to go to a cruise into the Mediterranean. Let's go.
Yeah. So,
it's an amazing idea, by the way, Brad. How do you come up with, having, for us in the professional industry, we love, traveling around the world, because it's a good getaway. Plus we're getting, the education and everything, but having that in a cruise, guys, if you have never cruised before, I'll say it's the best vacation that you ever paid. Okay. Because you get everything. And every time you woke up, you're in a different place. So it's amazing. I love the concept. I love the idea. I love cruising. I like cruising. So, having a conference for a group of people, and you have been doing this for quite a while, and I don't know anybody else who has been doing this in this industry. What gave you that idea and how you move forward? And please let us know about your latest cruise right now.
Sure. Yeah. So with cruising, a lot of times one thing people crave is connection. They need connection. They need to be loved, to be heard, to be understood. So with a lot of education, we were like in these like hotels or ballrooms or whatever, which is 4 constructed walls. And when you're in there, you're in cold. Exactly. They have to keep it cold to keep you awake. Or you mean the cold of the environment is cold. Yeah. It's not inviting for people to connect, because you're there in a chair, you're watching the person on stage, they're blah, blah, blah. And then you go up and say, oh, shake your hand. You were great. I'll buy your system. But generally with that, then we kind of have online, which I think is great, but the same sort of thing. You would get great education. You don't also get that physical connection, even though you can interact live and you can do that. So with a cruise, it allows people from all around the world to wake up in a different destination every single day, which to me, every time you wake up in a different destination, that changes your mindset. And where else are you going to? Because most of the hotel ones or the 4-wall ones are generally, except for like online, you can have people from around the world, but most of them, it's people in the general area. Where my last one, we had people from the Netherlands, we had people from Denmark, we had people from the UK, we had people from London, we had people from Canada. So, and where else can you get like-minded people that are all excited to learn? That the way that we run it is the days we're at sea, those are your education days. The days at land, you're free to go with your friends, your family. I work a lot with Virgin. So I've been with Virgin, Richard Branson's cruise line, for the last 5 years. So with that, it's 18 plus, so there's no kids. So people will say yay, and some people will say, but as far as, and we'll have ones with family too. But I find with that one, with 18 plus, you number one, have a different atmosphere. It's great for education because you can really learn, especially when we're doing our holistic cruises coming up, because we're infusing wellness with, like I was saying before, originally we were like doctors, right? And therapists and all that. So we're combining all that, and with Trichology, which is the next level. So with Missy Bender Peterson, who actually is with Malibu Sea, she taught Head Lab, right? Which is their Trichology with the scope, with the stuff. People were so amazed. And when they saw those pictures of the hair on the scope on the big screen on the cruise, they're like, whoa, you know, so they get to really understand. And that's how we're bridging and bringing cosmetologists over to the Trichology side. So for me, it's a natural kind of progression with that. And the nice thing with that, with Richard Branson, it's when you go, everything's included. So your refreshments, your basic beverages are included, your Wi-Fi is included, your group classes are included, which could be meditation or yoga or Pilates or anything like that. All your 20 plus specialty restaurants are all included, and the food is incredible. These are all by 5-star Michelin chefs that are there. There's no buffets. They make everything custom made. They're vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free.
And if you accommodation.
Yeah.
They accommodate celiacs.
They accommodate.
I have more than 2 choices.
Yeah, Pink Agave is my favorite restaurant. It's elevated Mexican, and their Mexican is authentic. Like all the restaurants are authentic. So if you do Italian, but Pink Agave is 100% gluten-free. Everything on the menu, and it's a huge menu. It's so good.
Nice.
I'm going there now. I'm going there now.
Darn you. I love the cruise concept because also you get a better chance to network with people, and you get to pick someone's brain for a little longer than when you're in a conference. You get about a minute and a half because there's a line of people that want to talk to that same person at the same time.
Nobody's going anywhere.
Exactly. And it is a great opportunity to to connect with people, to learn with people, and we're humans. We need the connection. That's
exactly. And it's building those relationships. So one thing I do is always, like any educators coming on, I always like to break bread. I'll make reservations for everybody for the week. So if you all want to be together and connect with the other educators, you get to go on, you get to stay for the classes and support all the other educators. So you're getting all this education for you included, right? And as I say, like with that, it's kind of a nice way, as I say, because a lot of times you say hi, but you also create, as an educator and as a person coming, you create your own journey. If you want a Zen journey that's relaxed, you can have that. And if you want to eat dinner with the, every night, that's fine. If you want to go and do your own thing because you have friends on board or your followers or your spouse or whoever or a friend, you can do that as well. Or you want to party all night, you can also party all night as well. And so, so with Virgin Voyages, they're one of the most best cruise lines, which they've won several best for inclusivity, diversity, and just connection and sharing with everybody. So if your authentic self is a feather boa and high heels, you can wear that. If your authentic self is it's a really different environment. But nothing is in your face. If like, as I say, but they have the whole wellness part. If you want to do the gym and the physical stuff and that, they have a wellness juice bar. Or if you would say you like to have a few beverages, you can shake your phone, go shake for champagne. Wherever you are on the ship, they'll bring you a bottle of champagne with 2 to 4 glasses.
Let me try.
So when you're in your room is all automatic. So with your tablet that's in your room,
Nobody came.
no, they will 10 minutes, up to 10 minutes. But when you're in your room, everything is on the everything is on your little tablet there. So you walk into your room, automatically your curtains will open. If you want your music, you can do the mood lighting. If you want a little romance or you want a little relaxation, you can set it for that, and it'll, close the drapes and put the lights and, set the tone and the music and all that. So they really catered to, and everybody is like, as far as food, it's incredible. You know what I mean? And because they have totally different destinations, as I say, we do Caribbean, but we're also doing Australia in January. We're also doing, there's some places around the globe, but also too, some people like to bring their kids, which is amazing, because I also believe in family time and having that as a strong foundation. Because how often do we now sit at the dinner table all together at the same time at night every single day?
True.
Which I think is an important value. That's my opinion. But just to connect, say, how was your day? What's going on? How many parents really know their kids and what goes on in school? I don't want to get off topic, but to me, it's really about that connection and knowing your family. How many of us really know our friends, really know our family members? Most family members don't tell their other family members what they really do. Or what their life is really like. Like you said, you're different in the eyes of your kids than your parents, than your spouse, like things like that. So with that, so the last cruise we did, we had 16 A-list celebrity hairstylists that were educators. We had a great group of people, about 80 people. So it's, as I say, it's kind of nice. So it's intimate enough that you can get to know everyone. And then what better way to say, hey, let's meet somebody from London. Let's meet somebody from Denmark. Let's meet somebody from Italy, those sort of places, because we have more planned. But as I say, I don't need 1,000 people to come. I did larger ones when I first started, but I really like that intimate connection, which I think the cruise does. So there's one coming up right now. It's October 27th to November 1st. It's in the Caribbean, at least from Miami. It goes to Puerto Plata and Richard Branson's private island. And our last one, we had yoga on the beaches in Bimini and Bahamas. So it's just kind of a nice way. And the person teaching, she said, this has always been my dream. So it's kind of nice to be able to fulfill that as well. It's also Halloween. So of course they're going to have Fright Night, Scarlet Night. They're going to have a sirens and like a ball. So everything's Halloween themed. All the food is Halloween themed. And then the next after that is Australia in January. We're doing Changing the Hairstylist from the Inside Out, which kind of is a branch off of the 12-part series we're doing now. And then we're going to do the Mediterranean, which is our Trichology one, which is June 2nd to 9th. But I want to throw some more Trichology ones in. So maybe we'll chat, we'll get some things happening, because I think this is really a movement that you guys are doing aligned with what I'm doing, that we really need to kind of make it cohesive, from transferring from a cosmetologist into Trichology. Cosmetologist to
the hair wire. Did you hear? January 2nd next year to the Mediterranean. Okay.
So if you look at my name, it's www.beautyindustrycruises.com. We also have, by the same name, on Facebook. You can join the group, and that'll give you any updates or things coming. But we want to make it great that, as I say, so there will be trichologists there teaching. Missy will be there from Malibu Sea. She'll be teaching Head Lab. And it's amazing. Like when you see these cosmetologists' eyes, like literally when they see that up close picture on the scope, and she goes through the whole process and teaching. And obviously it's not the same as taking a 2-year course and getting, licensed and all that kind of stuff. But at least it gives you a better understanding, because people don't realize
experience
what kind of junk. If we're selling all kinds of products or they're buying stuff from the drugstore, and it's building up on the hair, on the scalp, on the thing. And then people are wondering, because as I say, I'll leave it to the experts, which is you guys. I have a long list, but trichologist is not one of them yet. I'm working
Not
on
yet,
it, but I'm
not
not
yet,
there
but-
yet. I'm not there yet.
You have one
Maybe
to
if I hang
start.
around you enough, it'll rub off on me.
That's right. That's right. It will. It will.
Now, you guys, we are going to have this, the links also available on the Hairwire. Now, the cruises are for professionals only. I'm sorry for patrons, but if you want the link for the professionals, you got to sign up on the network. You'll have the links, and also Brad just gave us his website. But we're going to have the events and the dates in our event calendar. Like the social network I have is events in around your area, and we'll have the cruises posted there. So go sign up for the hairwire.com. You'll have all the network access there. Now, we do have with the book. I am going to post this on our website. You guys go check out this book. I think this is a key one. I have it in my cart to go buy today because
it's 100 pages. I wrote it in, so it's, but if I can add something about the cruise, the classes are for professionals only, but you can bring your spouse, anybody 18 plus, they can come, they'll get the group rate. They just can't come to the classes, but they can come to some of the group stuff, just not the classes.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate at the Hairwire, we are still keeping that professional recognition a thing. We are not just letting anybody come in. Yes, you are. If you are a certain license, certification, designation, we are still maintaining those rules as well, because it keeps integrity in our businesses and our fields, but we are bringing us together. So I just want to reiterate that. And as well too, the book will have available for the patrons. I think if you're not even just a hairdresser or a trichologist, you should read this book. I'll have it on the front end for the patrons for you guys to purchase. Go check it out. And also on the back end for our professionals. And you guys, if you haven't signed up for the summit and you want to see more of Brad, I hope you do come in future YouTube channels for us. But the sneak peek, we are going to be having him as a mystery guest in our summit, where you could talk to him live and ask him questions live in real time. But to do that, you have to be part of the summit. So go buy your spot. And then once we nail down the date when he'll be speaking, you can save your seat and talk to him directly, because this guy is a force to be reckoned with and you need to know him. So guys, further ado, we need to finish off. It's been almost 2 hours. We could talk.
That 30 minutes went fast, I was thinking.
We do. I do. I'm speaking for all three of us, but I personally want to have you back on, because you are a wealth of knowledge, not just for the professional, but for the patron. And what you guys we talked about today is important, and you guys need to listen to this once, twice, 3 times. Do it as many times as you need. But this is valuable information.
Maybe next time we pick an area so we can talk about it in more in depth, and we can have like people asking you questions, because this is important. Nobody talks about this stuff. Taking care of yourself is really important. It's underestimated, like we underestimate how important it is.
There's so much. And to say, if you have a chance, you can watch the Hairstylist Empowerment podcast, listen to those, our 12-week series, which I'd love for you guys to invite you to my home, where you can come on and we'll talk, but then we'll talk all about you. So I'll hardly talk and I'll let you guys talk, because your mission and what you're doing, people need to know. And like my audience of 60,000 would love to hear from you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Thanks so much for the invitation, Brad. No,
thank you.
Guys, we have to wrap it up. We want to say thank you, Brad. Thank you for being with us today. And we're connected. Period. We're connected. We're gonna keep hearing a lot about Brad, and of course about this cruise opportunity for us professionals. Besides anything you want to add before we go, Carrie?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, Brad. Like it's humbling experience to hear everything you just said, and it's just we needed one person to put it all together in one place. We can hear it that authentically, and that's genuinely from you too. Thank you so much.
Well.
Thank you, Brad. I'm so blessed to have met you, and I can't wait for this relationship to build. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. So grateful.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week. God bless you all. Bye-bye.